Okay, so I'm working on this Hubert Herr cuckoo clock for a friend of mine, and I'm not quite used to working on these Hubert Herr movements. This is like my first Hubert Herr movement. It's very similar to a regula. It's got a few slight modifications that make it different. But what I'm running into is I've built this thing twice, and I ended up with something out of sync each time. I had part of it working, but then it was out of sync and not gonging right, or the timing of the gong versus the cuckoo was off. And so I think I finally figured it out. So I had to take it apart a third time. And the problem I was having was this wheel here is the strike one wheel, and these pins here lift the bellows rods so it'll cuckoo. And what I had to do was place one of these pins, one of these cam lobes, about 1/8 of an inch away from the gong rod. And then at the same time, I needed to have this gear meshed with this wheel, and also have this little pin right here line up underneath this lock lever for the cuckoo at rest. So I didn't have that quite right. And then also at the same time, I needed the gathering pallet to be pressed onto this side of this wheel, and so that it would stop everything after counting, and this pin would end up stopped right under this lock lever. So I didn't quite have that right. So I think I've got it squared away on what I need to do. So now I got to put it back together a third time. And as they say, three's a charm. We shall see. Then I also went looking in my parts room where I keep my spare stuff, and I had some cuckoo clocks I don't really care for up on the wall as parts clocks. And I took one of those apart and looked in it, took the back off. Noticed, wow, it's a Hubert Herr movement just like what I'm working on. So then I noticed that I had another one, just another cuckoo clock just like that one. Well, found me 2 extra Hubert Herr movements, which I didn't know that I had. So, and they appear to be virgin. They're not messed with too much. Everything's in sync, so I can kind of use those as a template as well when I assemble this one for my friend. And so I think I'm going in the right direction. And just with this Hubert Herr, this wheel S1, S2, and the locking rod there, along with the gathering pallet, are critical. If you don't get those just right, it'll be out of sync and won't do what it's supposed to do at the right times. So, fun stuff. The key is don't give up. If you get stuck, walk away a minute, go do something, take your mind off of it, and then come back with a fresh perspective, and you'll do all right. Even if you don't know totally what you're doing, walk away, go do some research on YouTube, or look at a book, or ask some of your friends. There's plenty of clock friends out there. Ask them what to do. Just don't get frustrated and give up. Also, I'm kind of organized. I have to keep everything in order for me to be able to remember where it all goes without having to write it all down. Other people just throw it in a big pile as they do it, and you got to figure out the way you do it the best that works for you. I'm very neat and orderly because my mind is basically chaos, and if everything's neat and orderly, then my mind can focus on pieces and parts. But I'm like ADD, and it's like if I had a big mess on my desk that wasn't in order, I would kind of be lost. But I know other people that can do this stuff and have a big a mound of parts, and they're perfectly fine doing it that way. But the trick is, if you're working on clocks, you gotta do it the way you're comfortable doing it, and then you gotta listen to what other people tell you. Listen to everything, even if it sounds wrong. Go ahead and be polite and listen anyway, and come up with your own decisions based on your research. And you'll do pretty good. So clocks to me are very fun. It's like working a puzzle. So sorry for the long dissertation, but I've been working on this for quite a while, and it started to kick my butt, and I had to walk away. And I came back, and now I have a crystal clear vision of what's wrong, and I think I can fix it. So, and I still have a bad music box here, and I think I found a donor in one of my clocks, so I'm going to try to take some parts off of this music box because it's not totally the same, and try to make the music box work as well. So, yeah.